VOD viewed by me, Lord Vedius. So we're going to start with the draft. So let's have a look. Bans from the side of Fnatic. Sylas, Olaf, Azir. The Sylas doesn't surprise me. Very specific or targeted ban towards Xerxes jungle. Olaf ban is a little surprising. Perhaps a new meta thing. Perhaps Olaf is a little more valuable than he used to be. I've never really considered Xerxes a massive Olaf player, so this could also indicate something that they had in mind. But given that they didn't prioritize the jungler, leaves me wondering. The Azir ban doesn't surprise me either. Azir is considered like the strongest mid laner in the meta right now, so they're just like, no, none of that. Off you go. Karma ban directed at Reckless, but also just a strong champion. Yumi ban makes sense. Mordekaiser ban. Alright, so Splyce didn't really get to ban the thing. They just had to ban the meta. Olaf one I'm not entirely sure on. Perhaps they were thinking of an early Lee Sin, which got banned here. Because Olaf is quite good into Lee. They could have also been thinking Sejuani priority, which they didn't do. Maybe they expected a Rakan ban, so they were going to go Sejuani. Thinking about it, Sejuani made it all the way through. Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure about this Olaf ban. In any case, first pick Rakan makes loads of sense for Fnatic. Splyce then choose to deny the Xayah Rakan because they can go for Nautilus later on, which I quite like. Pardon me. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. So nothing too unconventional here. Everything makes sense. This is standard. This is standard. Ezreal Twisted Fate. Nemesis does this a lot. Blind safe mid laner with Azir gone. Like, you have to take into consideration what's the next strongest blind. And I don't know how many there are in the current meta. So Twisted Fate for Nemesis, not only is it a comfort pick, but also like Twisted Fate in general is just hard to like stomp. He is. Because he always runs teleport in lane. He can generally farm from a safe distance. He has utility and sustain in his kit. And when I say sustain, I mean mana sustain, which is just a different kind of sustain. And then the Qiyana counter. So this also doesn't surprise me from Splyce. I saw Humanoid practicing a lot in solo queue. I actually learned a lot of the basic combos about Qiyana from him. As in like watching his solo queue games. And then I think Qiyana can do very well against Twisted Fate, but not until like level 3, in which she can then start to look for trades. So right now, Splyce have really strong jungle mid. They have a strong AD carry. Fnatic have a bot lane that they can look to play through if they want. Twisted Fate to help play through bot. So bot lane centric, mid lane centric. Okay, nothing too crazy aside from maybe this, depending on your perspective. Lee Sin and Elise. Partly because no junglers have been picked, and they know that these two are very strong picks for Fnatic. Given that these have been taken off the board, it doesn't surprise me that he goes for Gragas, because this is his usual go-to, but also this is expected to be AD, so they wanted a little bit more AP damage in the comp anyway. If Elise was open, he probably would have taken that. Lux and Kennen. So the Lux ban is because they haven't locked in an AD carry yet, and Lux is considered a good pick into Rakan, so I understand it. The Cannon is because it seems like they're fine playing into any other support, but also you're assuming that Bwippa wants to play something like Aatrox or Renekton or something like that, which Kennen always does really well into. So if you take it off the board, you also deny it from Vizicachi, who's had pretty good Kennen performances so far this split. Like, it's one of those things, but again, it actually doesn't limit the support pool very much, which then allows Norscarian to get Nautilus. He also could have considered Braum or Alistair, which both work very well with Xayah, and I also think work well with the Jarvan. So I think Xayah and Nautilus should do very well in this 2 versus 2. They should easily get priority early on. So then Fnatic choose to answer with the Aatrox, which is somewhat that you expect. We already talked about the Gragas earlier on. They want AP damage, kind of next best jungler, does pretty well into Jarvan as well. Can offer a lot of early game pressure, and Aatrox top. So the counter then comes out with Nico, which I think this is first Nico game of the split for Vizicachi. So maybe this caught them off guard. Maybe they thought with the Kennen ban he would go for like a melee top laner. But in my opinion, Splyce have like winning lanes everywhere. Twisted Fate has pressure mid, but I think they have the stronger 2v2 mid jungle, which means that if the Jarvan pressures early onto the Twisted Fate so that he can't be really obnoxious, Qiyana gets to lane, gets to level 3, without too much punishment or harassment. You expect her to run something like Ignite because she's an assassin at the end of the day. I think Ignite is pretty important on her as well. So, yeah, so Splyce, they can easily get Qiyana to a point where she actually has kill pressure on Twisted Fate, and the Jarvan should basically count this lane. They have winning top matchup because it's Nico versus Aatrox. They have winning bot matchup, in my opinion, or at least they have pressure for Xayah Nautilus. So I feel like Splyce have a really good draft. Like, they win everything. Fnatic's comp does scale, but it's weird in how it scales, because like this isn't AP Twisted Fate, right? It's AD. And Ezreal scales really well at like 3 items, but the team fight of this isn't good. Like this whole comp is all about like finding picks, playing towards side lanes, which is something the Fnatic's generally pretty good at. Like Gragas, Aatrox, like Twisted Fate comes in, boom, pick. Rakan, Twisted Fate, Gragas, boom, pick. Like this is all about finding lots of picks, whereas this is like a lot more straightforward. They have pressure early on. They have strong team fighting. They have insane objective control because they have Qiyana. Like, Splyce's comp seems to, like, do everything. The only thing they have to be really careful of is if they fall behind in lane, which will be bad for them because they shouldn't, but if they fall behind in lane, they can be attacked on sides pretty easily. So, yeah, I don't know. This comp from Fnatic is actually kind of weird overall, thinking more about it. Like, the Twisted Fate in general makes sense as a blind, but it doesn't generate any pressure early. And you would assume that the Aatrox would. But I suppose the advantage for Fnatic is they can actually look to make plays bot. So I think if Twisted Fate gets ult at 6, then he can look to play bot. And they can look to try and punish Nautilus. Maybe. You can also, like, as long as Gragas expects the early pressure mid from Jarvan, then you can also counter. But overall, I think Splyce have the stronger draft here. That's what I think. Right. You have a bunch of questions. What are your questions? You can ask questions about the draft, and I will do my best to answer them, if I haven't already. Getting fed up with the presence of Corkian or Azir. So, the reason why that happened... So I'm not convinced that Azir is that great of a champion, but all pro players seem to be aligned that he is a really safe, really strong mid laner that seems to just do well in general. And the natural answer to that is Corki, because Corki doesn't lose to Azir, or shouldn't. Even though we did see a game this weekend, I even think it was from Humanoid, where he like obliterated a Corki, which I think it was Pyrion's Corki. I think that's more to do with Humanoid's Azir rather than the matchup itself. But in any case, Electrocute Azir, I've heard, can do pretty well until the Corki itself. But like they're both just scaling and they're both very safe. But they can't play on side lanes. And they can also be really easily abused in the early game. Which is what I don't understand. Because the game is still about playing for plates. The game is still very much about like having pressure early. Which maybe pros think that Azir generates a lot of pressure early. I'm not entirely convinced. Maybe if you take the caps approach and you just wave clear and leave lane, Azir definitely can't follow you. But I think the main reason is because all the other really strong flex picks got nerfed. So Azir just kind of shows up. But I don't think other mid laners have really thought about what else can we play. And I'm hoping that, again, teams like Fnatic and G2 will shake up the meta. And like, Splyce is doing it as well. The Qiyana pick is cool. Because like they could have also just picked Corki here and nullified this lane, and then the Jarvan could have looked to play around top and bot. That also works. Hi friends, welcome. What team is the best team in EU and why is it G2? Alright, you can ask questions about the draft. I'll answer questions about the draft. I'm not answering questions like in general. I'm a little sick, yeah. That's why I sound a little nasally. Why is Rakan prioritized over Xayah? Because it's Hylissang. And Hylissang is a really strong Rakan player, one of the best that we have in Europe. He offers engage, which means that you don't have to rely on it to come from the jungle. And also Rakan in lane, I think, is just generally pretty solid. He doesn't really lose to a lot of things. He's like a very versatile support, very good at roaming, very much fits into the style that Fnatic like. So I think that overall it's a stronger pick than the Xayah. But other teams will prioritize the Xayah because they want the duo, whereas Fnatic don't really care about the duo. They just want the Rakan. Which is normally why I think what Fnatic were expecting was Splyce to ban Rakan, and then they would first pick Mordekaiser, probably. And then the draft is completely different. Anyway. Nice, we're all ill. Anyway. Let's actually talk about some gameplay now. Alright. Okay, we're muted. We're going to put this on 1.5 speed. Because we don't need to watch it live time. You know, real time, whatever you call it. Trying to think why they've done this level 1. Maybe they're a little paranoid that Fnatic will want to try and get deep vision, so they group. Could also be a level 1 thing that they're worried about from Fnatic. Could also be they just want to protect their red buff. Early game, Twisted Fate, really strong with the gold card. Qiyana definitely not very strong. Oh, excuse me. You're getting a showcase of Qiyana's abilities. We can talk a little bit about Qiyana as well, because like she's really cool. I really like her as a champion. I think she's really complicated and has really high skill ceiling, which is why I think players, if you just pick her up and play her, she won't make a lot of sense to you. Pardon me. So Jarvan's starting red, Gragas starting blue, right? This is, they fake a leash, but I think they know anyway that this is happening. Yeah, I actually think that this was a colossal waste of time from Fnatic's bot lane. They pretend to pull it, but Vizichachi comes down and gets vision on it, so they see it. Big brain Vizichachi. So they already gained an advantage bot because they're first of the wave, so this isn't good for Reckless Nilsang. Xerxes, now remember what we said in draft? Xerxes should try and come mid early to alleviate some of this pressure. I like this gank. Take some XP away from humanoids, so we'll get a delayed level 2. But both junglers mirroring right now. Red to blue, blue to red. The problem is, Brox is going to have to start pathing back up towards topside because he can't contest Scuttle because bot has priority for Kobbe and Noskarian. Which means that the bot side of the map is not belonging to Broxer anymore. But at least he secures this, and because he's Gragas, he can probably do Raptors after this. Yeah, we'll probably... Oh. So he kind of goes back around in case there's vision there, and then he actually goes down towards his Krog, so he's playing towards bot. This could be just in case someone is... the Jarvan comes looking for a gank bot, like an early gank. Oh, that's really interesting. Surprised he did that. As an aside, I just want you to know, see how Humanoid sits on the ice one? The reason for that is because it provides CC, and in my opinion is also the best one to just sit on. So once you get level 3, you can E into Q, and you guarantee the root, and then you jump with the W, which resets your Q onto this, and then you get more damage. You can also jump onto this, get stealth, and then you can Q like that direction, and just kind of walk out without taking damage from him. But generally, you just want to be sitting on your ice one, because it also gives you passive bonus damage. So I like it a lot. See, so if he hits that, ooh, he gets rooted and he gets another bit of damage. But now he's level 3. So this laning phase is now a little bit easier. It's not easy, but it's easier. So Xerxes can go back to base because this obviously hasn't spawned yet and he's taking a lot of damage because he did buff and then he did bot side. Cromp does a lot of damage early. And Gragas because he just naturally has more sustain. He also did Krugs. It's going to be able to... This is pretty big for Roxer. Because remember, like, bot lane had priority, so in theory you would have expected Xerxes to be able to get this and help his bot lane have a little bit more control, but they don't. So Xerxes fine with this. He'll just trade it for the top side one because top was pushing. He's looking for another gank mid maybe. Nemesis is intentionally baiting this out because Boipo has gone back to base and has teleport. And then I remember this play. I wasn't predicting that. I knew this would happen, so... Don't call me a god, because I definitely knew that was going to happen. But they wanted to swap, because Boipo has a really tough time against Vizichachi. And remember, Fnatic has no priority early. They have none. Sorry, that's a lie. They can get prio in this lane, and like the bot lane ebb and flows, right? So like they'll just sit there and farm because it's Ezreal. But usually this will not be able to consistently gain priority in the spot side of the map, and also like their jungler base, so they had to base or like recede, and in the mid lane they were struggling as well. So like Splyce have the ability to gain pressure everywhere, largely because of Xerxes as well. So, oh wow, Brock's actually managed. How did he get both? What was his path? Oh, of course he sits mid, doesn't he? And then he can against this. Oh, and then he just goes up because Xerxes is there. And then Bwipo has priority over mid, so he's able to get it. Damn, that surprises me. I would have thought Xerxes would put more focus on getting one of the scuttle crabs, but he doesn't. So Brox is in a pretty good spot right now. And then the classic Hylissang roam. First base, he looks for roam. Normally he's level 4 when he does this though. But now they look to dive humanoid. This is smart. Okay, so I think he messed that up. Does he get spotted though? So he's sitting in the brush right now. Oh, okay, that's why. He gets spotted, so he goes in. But he now takes 2 tower shots. Broxer takes 1. Yeah, Hylissang should have just... Well, it's not terrible because he doesn't want to potentially give the Wombo burst combo to Broxer. Yeah, I don't think he could have played that much better. He was just quite unlucky that he was in tower range. Still, this is a really good dive for Fnatic because not only did they get a successful and clean swap, but Bwipo now gets like a full wave and all that farm is denied away from humanoid. So Bwipo is now in a better lane matchup. Nemesis is much better suited for dealing with Vizicachi. Everyone on Fnatic is happy. Great early game from Fnatic so far, as is per usual, except for that. That was just quite unlucky. Humanoid gets a kill. Wait. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What happened? Hylissang has flash. Some trading is going on. And he's dead. Wait. That wasn't supposed to happen. Okay. So, Hylissang messed up pretty dramatically. I don't know. I hope we get a replay. Did we get a replay? What the hell was that? Hylissang. What was that, Mr. Hylissang? Let's have a look. So he comes back to lane. He's like, let's go. Alright. Wait. No! Okay. So. Boom. Boom. Okay. So he gets rooted up, but all those feathers are there, so he then gets rooted, I guess. Ugh. I don't know. What we can gather from this is that Hylissang tried to take an all-in trade when he has Ignite. They have all their summoners. I guess he's thinking, well, Kobe has no mana. This should be a pretty good trade for us. There's a lot of minions there. We will never know. And now he's mid and he died. Wait. What is Hylissang doing? I can't keep track of all the things that he's doing because we're in a replay every time something happens. Alright, so that's upsetting. So Humanoid gets a kill. I'd like to explain to you how, but I don't really know. All I know is Hylissang is killing himself a lot. And now they dive reckless. Alright, this was a great play. This is worth it. This is 100% worth it. Alright. Splyce. Great job, I guess. I don't know. Like, I don't know. What the hell? I can't use ProView, so I don't think I'm allowed to stream ProView. I don't think so. Sorry, guys. So the thing is, right, because this roam happens... Wait, how does North Scaring get mid? So he must have matched a roam at some point. But look, like, the farm is pretty even here, right? So Rex is just waiting for the wave to hit his tower. And so he wants to then start farming underneath his tower, right? Oh, so he's actually losing some last hits here. Not sure why, but whatever. So then North Scaring comes down, and he's like, bruh. That was good from North Scaring. I like that. Yeah, I don't really know what happened there. Hylissang killed himself a bunch of times. He actually just killed himself. Can we use all abilities to push out the wave so Hilly goes in to punish him? Well, that wasn't the greatest idea. Well, I don't think he used the E. I don't think so anyway. Alright. So, because Fnatic have just lost members bot, Splyce go for Infernal Drake. Broxah smartly trades on the top side of the map because he has pressure mid and he has pressure top. This is smart. This is the best thing you can do as a jungler. Yeah, Fnatic also have tempo right now because Xerxes needs to reset. So they could look for another dive mid if they want. It's a little dangerous now that Humanoid's 6. So they won't. Alright, so one of the problems they have with Nemesis sitting top lane is that he can't roam bot. And remember we talked about how Hylissang on the Rakan is like one of the lanes you could actually look to play through, and with Nemesis and Broxah you could look for potential dives bot. Because this guy should have pressure mid, it should be easier for them to apply pressure towards bot side, especially if this duo is always pushing, right? But Xerxes in the early game spent a lot of time hanging around here, but even then, they even killed him. But then they decided to swap. So Nemesis Bwipo swap, it got Bwipo out of a difficult matchup and helped him actually like get back into the game after what was a difficult matchup. Look, he's level 7 now. A level advantage over Vizichachi and Humanoid. So like, they haven't made plays bot, but the trade has been, we've gotten Bwipo to a state in the game where he's not crippled anymore. So that's arguably worth it. Okay, okay. This replay isn't super helpful because it doesn't tell us anything. So they just get Drake after this. That's fine. So yeah, I like the trade from Fnatic. They're staying relatively even in gold because of Kleptomancy, I think. Double Kleptomancy even. So now they're back and you can see like they're even. So Bwipo is in a much better state now. Now that he has like some levels and some items, this matchup should also be easier for him. Yeah, I was going to say Xerxes going for that is very dangerous. Okay, so what do we want to see next? So no TP, no TP, no TP, no TP, no TP. So there are no TPs anywhere. Nemesis does have ultimate and he's mid lane, but it looks like Kiana got to the wave first and has priority. Jarvan is in the river. Fnatic probably know this. So these two have to now back away because Splyce are probably looking for a play bot. There are 5 plates on bot lane, so they can't really do much, and Herald hasn't spawned. So for the next few minutes, we should actually just see farming. That's all we should see. Yeah, not much should happen now because there's nothing really to play for. Should just be farming. They're looking to just get some river control. Not too much should happen. Alright. So now we're getting to 10 minutes. So now we should... Holy... Whoo! So they push out. He must have assumed that they've gone back to base. I mean, I feel like there's no reason to assume unless they're expecting Splyce to base to then swap towards top lane. But even then. Notice the difference in positioning between Reckless and Hylissang. See where Reckless is standing? See where Hylissang is standing? Hylissang in his head is like, oh, I can just E out of this. He doesn't do it fast enough. He gets chain CC and he dies. Hylissang's not having a great game. I don't know, you could make an argument that it's not just Hylissang's fault. Because, like, if Reckless knew, then Reckless probably would have told him and he probably would have played safer. So they probably both assumed that they'd gone back to base. So you can't just criticize Hylissang there. Oh. And this is a great example of why you sit on the ice one. So, like, look. You do E into Q to guarantee the route. And then he uses the ultimate to knock him into the wall. Beautifully played. Well done, Humanoid. Really good stuff. So now, remember we said... Wait, did I say that I expected Splyce to swap? I expected Splyce to swap. I mean, but that's also why I think Fnatic did this. Because in the same vein of what we just said, right? I was like, remember we were like, okay, nothing's going to happen for a few minutes because there's nothing to play on the map for. But 10 minutes is coming, and Splyce have an advantage, so they probably want to keep pressuring that advantage, and the only way they can do that is if they get Herald. So their next objective is probably to look for Herald, which means that they're probably going base. You would assume Reckless and Hylissang think the same thing, so they look to try and push in this extra wave so they can go base. But Norscarin and Kobe stick around, and they catch him off guard. So he ends up dying. Sucks for him. Then Nemesis goes back to base. His TP is coming up soon. Yeah, I think this base timing is fine. I think. Is there a cannon? Yeah, this is fine because it's on a cannon minion wave as well, so he has more time. And Brox is just standing here to hold the wave. So, like, he's literally just here to farm and wave clear. And then this is one of those situations where you're like, wait, what does this champion do? Yep, and he gets 100 to 0. He still has fire shot. He doesn't expect that all in at all. So then Splyce can immediately move to Rift Herald, and they've already started swapping for it. So I will say, 10 minutes into this game, Splyce have not played poorly. I feel like Splyce have, like Xerxes in particular, has played around the lanes that he needed to. We said that we wanted to see him play around mid. He's playing around mid, right? He's helped Humanoid get through what should have been a very early laning, rough laning phase. And even though Humanoid died because he got that trade kill back against Hylissang, it was ultimately like fine for him. So Splyce have done nothing exceptional. They've just kind of played their lanes. Whereas Fnatic have made, well, Hylissang has made a lot of mistakes. And even still, they're still staying relatively even in gold because of the Kleptomancy. I think it's because of Kleptomancy anyway. And I quite like the fact that Nemesis and Whippo swapped lanes because I actually think it helped alleviate a lot of the early game pressure. So this play that we're now about to watch, I think is another poor play from Hylissang. Bear in mind, he's still not 6 yet, right? Expectation should be that Splyce is going for Rift Herald. I've just talked about it, and if I see it coming, then Splyce definitely knew it was coming, and if Fnatic's bot lane believed Kobe and Norscarin to be going base in the first place to play towards Rift Herald, you would assume that after the jungler has just died, that Splyce is going to be going for the Rift Herald. Like, there's no reason not to assume this. So, like, the bot lane should be coming top. Now, because Hylissang died, he obviously knows that he can get to top lane first, and you're sitting there thinking, okay, this kill onto Vizicachi is good, we've also got Twisted Fate ultimate. But Splyce have 5 people or 4 people top. How is this play ever going to go in Fnatic's favor? Sorry about that. Maybe I'm being too critical. Ultimately, like, it does give free time for Reckless to get plates. They also get plates mid. Like, the ultimate outcome of this play is fine, but I still think, like, it's super dangerous. Like, you know, you should expect Splyce to be swapping to top. Okay, we're getting a replay of this. So, yeah, Kobe's allowed to stay because he's reset. Reckless only just now reset. Is he going to head to top lane? So Bwipo is mid, but he has TP. Where did he come from? He just came from base to mid? Yeah, he did. Oh, I guess the bot wave was in a position where he couldn't just go and grab it. But I would expect him to go bot now. Because Fnatic, and like, the bright side of that play is Fnatic stopped the Rift Herald from dropping, right? Because Splyce could have just traded the kill for the Rift Herald, but they didn't. They actually wanted to trade kill for kills. And now they've actually gotten more turret plates top, because again, Kobe reset first, so he could just stay in the lane. He didn't need to go back to base for anything. But now, Xerxes reset, and I think Norscarin reset as well. Did he? I don't know. I didn't get to see. Well, the Nico is obviously dead, so... Yeah, so Bwipo goes mid lane because there's nothing for him to catch bot. They're swapping the lanes back up towards top side. At least I think they are. Unless they send the Twisted Fate there. No. Ezreal's going. Okay. And they just gained full river control over top side. So they want to be able to contest Rift Herald. But Drake is spawning soon. So they're just going to go straight for it. Ooh, that teleport. So this teleport was just bad, Because, so, Nemesis thinks he's relatively safe, right? In this situation, he's like, okay, oh, actually, no. There's no good reason why. Norscarin literally just cleared that ward out. He thinks he's safe because he's underneath his tower, but yeah, that was bad. And then Broxah tries to save him, and he now dies. God, Fnatic are just playing this really poorly, in my opinion. I don't want to take anything away from Splyce, right? Vizchachi doing what he always does, dying isolated. But, like, we've seen mistakes now from Nemesis and Hylissang. That was good from Humanoid. That was also insane from Kave. 1 versus 2. But, like, there was also the correct play from Fnatic, right? So there's a lot to break down here. That's a lot. So, let's start here, right? So, notice that Reckless is in base. He's just reset, right? Splyce are expecting Nemesis to reset soon as well, because you can see from his components that he's likely going for a Trinity Force soon, right? So, Splyce, because they have priority, are allowed to move through the river and clear out all this vision. That makes sense, right? They have push. They get to move through the river. They get to clear, right? So, they're actually now making their way towards Drake, because they think that getting this Drake, the next Infernal, is more important than being able to contest for Herald. Okay? But seeing as they're walking through river, they clear it out anyway. This is fine. There's nothing wrong with this from Splyce. But the next objective is very obviously this. Now, they've just pushed out bot because Vizchachi, again, he got to the wave first. He clears it out. He moves up. He probably has some wards that he's going to look to drop. Splyce are already making their way down towards it. They're going to get to this wave. They're going to help Kiana push. And they're going to look good, right? Then the teleport comes through. This is a mistake. He should have teleported to the tower. Maybe he tried to. Maybe he did it on the minimap and it did the minion anyway. He kills himself, right? So, Broxah then flashes over, tries to kill Norscarin. He fails, right? Now, does Broxah actually die here? I think he does, right? He definitely does. Yeah, he does. So, he shouldn't have done that. Even if he did kill Norscarin. Is that really worth it? His life for the support? No. So, both mid and jungle, massive mistakes, right? So now Splyce gets a walk down towards Dragon. They're like, hey, we'd love to take this Dragon. No, they can't, because Vizchachi just died. So that's weird. I didn't get to see the sequence of plays, so I don't really know. We can have a quick look at the minimap. So, okay, so Vizchachi gets a good punish just because he TP'd back in. And then Bwipo goes for a bit of an all-in trade, gets a good trade initially. And then he pops his ultimate and goes for an all-in dive. Because Vizchachi doesn't have his flash, right? So good trade there from Bwipo. But then Splyce, because they've just chased the jungler through the jungler, are already on their way bot. So they're now also able to come bot. And Bwipo nearly kills a bunch of them. Very nearly, damn. Aatrox, man. And so they still don't get the Drake. So there are all these objectives that Splyce actually wanted to play for. But because Fnatic have been, like, tactically killing themselves, Splyce haven't been able to get any of these Drakes. Okay. So, again, I don't want to take anything away from Splyce, right? Splyce are literally just playing standard League of Legends, whereas Fnatic just like keep throwing themselves at Splyce for some reason. I mean, like, a part of it is because I think Fnatic's comp is difficult to play. Like, they've been really good in the early game, and they have had very clear win conditions, but I think this game, they haven't really, like, their draft does not allow them to have any very clear and obvious options in the early game. There are some, but, like, you have to force them, right? And I really like their roams mid, because if you're going to punish any lane, like, Humanoid on the Kiana is probably the best one, but so many times it went wrong. And it felt like that Splyce just tracked it. But also, like, the execution on Fnatic's side has been extremely poor. Hylissang's had a terrible game. Fnatic is not playing super well here. I don't know if they disrespected Splyce or what, but Fnatic's not playing well. So let's have a look. But the thing is, you can't criticize Splyce either. Splyce have done nothing wrong this game. They've literally done nothing wrong. Everything they needed to do, they have done. And they've just been given free stuff. So like, well, okay. Alright, so now they set up for the Drake. So they reset and they come back for the Drake. They abandon top lane, okay? Reckless does have TP, but they don't really want to fight right now. So I'm not actually sure why they're going for this. Oh, look, they're dead. Why? Why would you go for this? Like, even if Reckless TP's in, he has an Iceborne Gauntlet and a Tier. Your Twisted Fate has Trinity Force. 80 Twisted Fate really doesn't do a lot in like a team fight like this. Meanwhile, the Kiana, who's 4-1 and 3, right, is not only really good at fighting in this sort of environment because her ultimate is so effective, but she also has a completed Ghost Blade. She does way more damage than like anyone in the game right now. She's like an 80 assassin with a completed Lethality item. Also, Kabe has his Essence Reaver done, which is also a really strong first item spike. And he's on Nautilus. Now, admittedly, Splyce don't have a lot of ultimates, and they have a lot of theirs. But even then, like, no ulti... I don't know. And, I mean, they don't even play it very well at all in the first place. So, like, mid is clear, but they have no vision in the river. So, like, what is Hylissang doing? So they have a controller. They see the Nautilus. Right now, you can see the Nautilus. You can see him. So what does Hylissang do? He... Alright. This isn't very good. So the Splyce get Drake. This is a comedy of errors from Fnatic. This is not very good, in my opinion. Meanwhile, Splyce is just like, alright, keep giving up 80 assassin mid lane kills, I guess. Alright, here we go. So, Reckless now has pressure top, right? So, wait. So, Reckless has pressure top. Splyce and the Kiana bot, and Xerxes resetting. So, this is fine for Fnatic to actually, like, move into the river here, because they guarantee a numbers advantage. So, they catch Vizicachi in the rotation. I like this. And they kill him. That's good. That's a good pick. Those are the kind of picks Fnatic wants to be finding. Right? Now what are they doing? Oh. They also kill Kabe. And they kill Norscarin. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so something I didn't mention, but I should now, is that pick comps work in one of two ways, in my opinion. You can either attack the side lane, and so you can try to generate a numbers advantage where against a split pusher or someone who's trying to clear out a wave, right? So let's say Vizicachi goes bot lane, you have Bwipo there, and he's farming away, and then Nemesis TP ults in behind, right? And you keep 3 members one place, you have 2 members on the other side, and then they find that pick, and then you have pressure on one side of the map, right? And hopefully the 3 can hold off the 4 so that Splyce can't gain any advantage, as an example, right? The other thing you can do with a pick comp is you can attack someone while they're transitioning. So the thing is, all of Splyce were just grouped up together to play around this Drake, right? But now they have one of two options. They can either reset or they can move between the lanes to transition to the other side of the map, right? And so what Vizicachi does here is he thinks he's relatively safe because he's got vision here, right? He's got vision in this tri-bush, no one's there. But what he does is he walks over both these wards and in full insight of Fnatic, and they're like, we know where he is, we're pretty confident we can catch him off guard, so let's catch him in transition. So this is an example of catching someone rotating to the other side of the map, and this is why you normally, if you're going to this route, you have to take a slightly safer path behind things like the red buff. So making these picks is much harder. Does that make sense? So this was, in my opinion, greedy from Vizicachi. But I like the play from Fnatic. This was good. Now, Norscarin is just trying to get out. He's running away. So Kabe is staying mid. Now, I believe he's staying mid because he expects them to just go for Drake, for Rift Herald, and he doesn't expect this. He doesn't expect Bwipo to just... Because, like, I wouldn't expect this either. That's why I was kind of like, okay. So I think this genuinely just caught Splyce off guard. Like, Norscarin is buying time for his AD carry here, so I understand why he does that. And then Bwipo lands literally everything, and then flashes some from Nemesis. Sorry about that. So yeah, I genuinely think that really good awareness from Whippo there to know that they could go for that. Props to Whippo. I think Whippo's playing well this game. And then Humanoid stays bot. So, like, Splyce have now, like, all of a sudden thrown a lot away. Because Fnatic get top tier 1. No, Reckless is dying. Why does he stay for another way? Ooh, he lives! Ooh! Okay, so it ends up just being a trade of... Okay, I'm going to say it now. This game is messy. This is not the highest quality of League of Legends. A lot of mistakes are being made. Very few from Splyce, to be fair. A lot from Fnatic. Like, so typically, he takes this tower and then he leaves. Oh, okay, so he's trying to Q the wave so that he can just ulti to reduce the cooldown of his ult. He's going to ult now, right? Nope. He's like, oh, well, I don't need to ult now, do I? And to be fair, he's like, well, I've got flash. Alright. So he loses his flash. I think it was a little greedy to stay for that extra wave, given that everyone was resetting. But notice how Fnatic still don't get the Rift Herald. Pardon me. So after all those kills, after all that setup that we talked about, none of it mattered. Alright. This is a weird game. This is a super weird game. Alright, so now, Splyce. Their turn to set up for Rift Herald once again. Here we go. So, they're just spreading out. He's going to take that tower. Whippo's being sent bot. Notice how they have even the Kiana mid as well. Probably because he doesn't have teleport, neither does he. So Splyce are force grouping. They should be aware that Whippo doesn't have teleport either. So they look to force a play with numbers. So Whippo should trade on bot side. Yeah, good awareness from Broxer. Immediately moves to the bottom side of the map. Reckless can sit around mid. Notice again, he's playing towards the bot side river so that he's safer. This is the best trade I think Fnatic could have made. I also like the decision making from Splyce. We have no teleports. Let's get top tower. Let's group up. And then let's use the Herald to get mid. And then we can transition down to bot side river. Okay. Alright, so I like the sequence of plays from Splyce. And I liked how Fnatic answered. So now Fnatic is like, well, Nemesis' ult is about to come up. Do they see Kiana? Do they ping her at all? Let's have a look. Let's keep your eyes on Kiana. They don't know she's here. So they don't actually know where Kiana is. They don't know. All they know is they can see 2 to 3 people mid lane. And they've decided they want to go for the fight. So there's the Twisted Fate's ultimate. This immediately gives them information on where everyone is. Remember, Splyce have no teleports available. So this fight should be good for Fnatic, because they immediately have numbers advantage. And they find 2 kills. Could Carbe have done anything different? He tries to go for an extra hit on the tower. I think it was smart of him to like split away from the pack anyway. But yeah. This is a good play for Fnatic. I like this. Arguably misplay from Splyce. They probably should have stayed as 4 mid. Kiana should have stayed with them. Because, like, what does she gain from getting this wave, right? Really? She should have just stayed with the team, helped them get the tower. And then maybe they could have looked for a fight, but even then, maybe they should have expected the Fnatic collapse to come through. And Fnatic should trade this for mid tower as well. Yeah. Bit of a mistake there from Splyce. But I like the initial play. I like the fact that they force grouped as 5 to be able to take Herald. Okay, and then Humanoid just gets a kill. What? How does he even do that? Right. So he goes through here. He gets pinged out. He wants to go for Scuttle Crab. And then he's just sitting in this brush. Oh, he sees him clear that out, so he's like, well, I'll just kill him. So he just kills him. Alright, fair enough, Humanoid. Alright, so Fnatic should get this tower. Oh, they base. There you go. So they won't get the tower, but that's the smart thing to do. They'll base. So now you'll see Hylissang wander off in a different direction. Alright. Next objective is the Drake. So again, no teleports available on Splyce. So they're abandoning top lane. They got back out on the map first. So they have tempo. They have the advantage. They get to take the initiative, whatever you want to call it. They push out mid. They move into bot river. They don't know Bwipo's here. I'm just setting up vision now. So they get priority over this objective. Bwipo's like, phew! That was close. Fnatic doing the same thing. They could send Nemesis or Bwipo top lane. Wait. Let's backtrack. So, Vizichachi is here. Again, this is greedy. They have vision on the entrances to the jungle. But then he gets one shot by Broxer. Wow. But Splyce have mid prio, so it's okay. But cost him his ulti. Wait, what? Humanoid's just like, hey bro, what's up? Bye. Okay. So if you have a really fed champion, it kind of changes the rules. Kiana's just like giving a fat middle finger to how priority works. It's just like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna kill him. Yeah. Whatever. No big deal. Because like, bear in mind, the rest of his team is basing. So in theory, Humanoid shouldn't be here. So Bwipo's just like, oh, hey, whoa, this is really dumb from you. Never mind, no, it's not. I'm dead. Also gets to teleport out from Nemesis. Yikes. And now Vizichachi can go catch top wave, but he shouldn't. Kobe should. Because Drake's about to spawn. Oh, it's alive, in fact. Oh, I suppose Bwipo is dead. I mean, okay. So Splyce didn't lose anything around the Drake. Even though Vizichachi got chunked out massively, and they should have lost priority around the Drake. They should have lost vision. They didn't. So the Drake goes to Splyce because of Humanoid. Good job, Humanoid. So, for the record, in my opinion, Humanoid has done nothing this game to warrant all the praise I see him getting. Now, I think that he has had, overall, a good week, but his Azir game yesterday was by far more impactful than this one. Now, he's found some kills, admittedly, but a lot of those kills were also following the mistakes of Splyce as a team. Like, if we think about the kill he got into Gragas, his whole team died in mid lane. And then he happens to find a Gragas who's trying to use the priority that his team just got him, and he kills him. And then same bot lane. His top laner just got caught out and is forced to base. So again, Humanoid finds another pick here on a ward. So like, yes, he's doing some good things. And like, by no means do I think he's a bad player. But the way I see some people describing him is he's like, he should be a top 3 mid. And I'm like, well, in my opinion, he's just been the one collecting a lot of these kills. I don't know. I guess maybe my standards are too high. I don't know. Maybe I'm too critical. Humanoid's not like blowing me away though. But it's just my opinion. So, next passage of play. They've once again abandoned top lane. I think, so this is a difference between Splyce and G2. G2 would have sent Vizichachi bot. They would have sent Perks top. They would have sent Wonder bot. They would have sent Perks top. Because their AD carry has teleport. And they use their teleport way more aggressively. And like, here's a really good example of like Splyce where Kobe, he's intentionally staying with his team a lot more. Helping them get vision and stuff. Rather than prioritizing himself. Like, his farm is fine, right? He's still above 10 CS per minute, but I just wanted to showcase a slight difference in ideology, you know? So now look, they send Vizichachi bot, and Vizichachi's going to go catch the farm, no? He has teleport. I'm surprised they're just grouping mid. This seems weird to me. They already gained vision around river. This is dangerous. So that was just bad from Humanoid. So they get the vision in river. So now they're looking to control bot, right? So in theory, you'd want to send Vizichachi bot or Kobe bot. It doesn't really matter. And then you just want to hold mid. Now Kobe stays here and Vizichachi's hanging around to help Kobe get this mid prio. And the Humanoid is here. But the rest of his team is here. And he has no vision of the enemy jungle. So this is poor. This was a mistake. Yep. And now they lose all the river control that they just got. And Fnatic is free to fight back. There have been so many mistakes this game. There have been a lot of mistakes. Fnatic get a free tower. Okay, next passage of play. Fnatic will base. The thing is, I don't know if they can play around Baron. Their comp isn't the best at taking it. And if they force a fight against this, they will. No thank you. So they should really look to play sides. Anyway, we already talked about how their comp is very much for like finding picks. So they need to keep control of these two waves. And they either need to catch Splyce as they're transitioning in between waves, or they need to attack one of these side lanes. We already talked about this earlier on. That's what Fnatic want to do. How they do that is by pushing this wave in, which forces Splyce to catch it. And then you hope that they look to try and push past. If they don't, you go and catch these waves. But Splyce should use that window to try and force Baron. So Splyce's next objective should be to catch the waves. Look to gain vision once again in the river. That's weird. I'm not sure why he sacrificed that far, but there we go. So, as we said, Nico and Kiana catching the sideways. Nico gonna base. Okay, probably has gold to spend. Yep, got the ghosty boys. Kiana gonna push another wave. They've sent Bwipo off to a side, and they've got Nemesis here as well. So remember again, so if Nico is hanging around, Bwipo teleport in, boom, kill. Fnatic is getting a little ahead to allow Reckless to push, so they're forced to play on the defensive, so they get mid prio, so they can get vision around bot. Infernal Drake is probably spawning soon. So they can play around that. Splyce care way more about Baron. They want to try and force it. So, notice in all of this that no one has been sent to deal with this. Vizichachi has actively came down. Kabe, I can't remember the last time he used his teleport. Vizichachi also has his teleport up, yet they send no one here. The reason for it is because, again, if you're 5 people, you can brute force your way into something. So even though Fnatic get to come back out onto the map and do things more because of how far they push the waves in, right? And also I think Splyce is behind on tempo. I think Splyce is behind on tempo because Vizichachi is going back to base right now. So the way in which they can claw tempo back is by forcing a numbers advantage, which is what you do by having 5 people. I believe that's what happens here. So Fnatic keep things split up. And notice the pathing that Nemesis takes towards the back, much safer. The risk of him getting caught is lower. Splyce focus on getting vision around the Baron, then they force it. So they are trying to force the teleport out from Bwipo. And now it's a game of chicken. Come fight us, come fight us, come fight us, come fight us, come fight us. Come on, come on, come fight us, come fight us. And Baron's like, meh, yeah, meh. Fight us, 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 fight us. Meh, no, would rather not. And they don't. And they don't actually threaten the Baron. Fnatic call the bluff. Yeah. That was great from Fnatic. So I understand why Splyce are doing this Baron. They want the fight, remember? They're really good in this situation. Their 5v5 is really strong. Let me check their items real quick. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, they're really strong. They have all these items. They're good to go. And they have Righteous Glory as well. Wait, they have Righteous Glory? If they're going to turn, they should turn, like, now. Okay, they've lost vision. Righteous Glory. Righteous Glory? Oh, he did use it when he hooked. I think so, yeah. Yeah, Fnatic called the bluff. So I think the play itself was fine from Splyce, but they didn't commit to one or the other. Their turn wasn't very successful. Like, hello, they have all their flashes up. If they really wanted to force that fight, they could have done it. I think there was a lot of indecision there. And they end up losing this as a result. Yeah. It was patient play by Fnatic. Then Moscarin dies as well. Oh, that's poor. He tries to base again, right? Yeah, his ult gets interrupted and he tries to base again. And then he wards over the Baron pit to see if they're doing it. And then he dies. I just don't think he should be basing there anyway. So Fnatic get to reset, and because Splyce only have 4 members, they don't get to. Well, they can still get pressure around Dragon. Maybe get third Infernal and be like, woohoo! Now the quality of League of Legends has gone a bit better. I quite like that sequence of plays. Corbett getting collapsed on. Good force by Fnatic. They get the flash out from Kobe. The collapse from Whippo. Let's have a look. So they see Kobe there. He doesn't really have support. Oh, this flank. He just comes in from behind. In my opinion, Whippo's had a great game. I think Whippo's played this game really well. Almost gets the kill. Almost. Nyom. Kobe still doesn't go back. He's like, I've got lifesteal. Nope, I'm going to base now. So Fnatic gained priority over the Drake. Well played, Fnatic. Okay. Kobe has TP, so they're like, we can keep pressuring. Back to a side lane for Whippo. Perfect. This is exactly what Fnatic want to do. It's like you can see the early game seems to always be the same for Fnatic. But then mid-game, they suddenly like remember what they need to do. They do like a mental reset and they're like, okay, this is what. And look at this. Exactly what we were saying. You want to try and attack one of the sides. But Splyce have gotten sneaky. Splyce are like, we're sick and tired of you split pushing. If you want group to us, we'll come to you. Ha ha ha. But he gets away anyway, because that's a weird bug thing. I don't know what the fuck happened here. What did happen here? Oh, does his E happen just as the thing? As the ulti comes down and it just pushes him out? Yeah, haha, that's unlucky. Or that was genius from Whippo. One or the other, depending on your perspective. Yum. So he uses that to get out. So they can't really attack sides right now, but Fnatic maintain control of the side waves. Yep. Look at all the darkness they've created. Good river control. Splyce yet to threaten the Baron once again. They need to gain control of the sides. So bot should start pushing, slow pushing in favor of Splyce. It should. So they're grouping up and they're pushing mid. Wow, all of his HP just disappeared. Counter catching top. So again, want to highlight a slight difference between Splyce and G2. If this was G2, we'd see the Xayah in the side lane a lot more than what we're seeing from Splyce. But the other big difference is the Kiana would be running mobility boots, not Merc Dreads. Because Caps is a very heavy roam style, whereas Humanoid is less of that. He plays a lot more for lane, he plays a lot more for himself. And one of the reasons why I like Kiana with mobility boots is because she actually has like a lot of mobility, because one of the things that you passively gain movement speed depending on what element you have. So if you have the earth element, when you're near walls, you run faster. If you have the water element, when you run through the river, you're faster. And when you have the grass element, when you run through brushes, you run faster as well. So she actually has a lot of mobility. So if you stack that on top of the boots mobility as well, then it's really easy for her to just glide everywhere. So that's why I really like it. But I just wanted to highlight some of the differences that we see between like Splyce and some of the top teams. Oof. Okay. Let's watch this. Slow this one down a little bit more. So Kabe is clearing by himself. Good route into knockup from Bwipo into immediate follow-up from Hylissang. But this ulti from Norskeren saves him from dying. Because otherwise Broxer would have done his combo and he would have killed him. But he's able to reposition. Kabe got lucky there. Norskeren played that well. Meanwhile, Humanoid was like, hey Nemesis, whoop-a-chang! Kills him. That was well played. This was good. Another good pick. Humanoid has found a lot of good picks this game. I will give him that. Yeah. Because they failed to kill Kabe. They're now like, oh, we've got nothing left. Oh, that E actually caught Reckless as well. He's like, I'm safe. Oh, wait. Oh, Pot Blossom. Pew, 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 pew. Nice. That was well played by Humanoid. Now, Fnatic get the, lose the Baron, I think. Splyce are like, yay, we finally want to fight. But again, it was like Fnatic misplayed, in my opinion. The entire map was being so heavily controlled by Fnatic for the vast majority. Like 20 minutes onwards, this has been Fnatic's, like, Fnatic have been dictating the pace. And they flub up the execution. Again, props to Norskeren here. That ultimate was really good onto Bwipo. I thought it was really good. And Humanoid played very well, and then he dies. Okay. So he throws away Baron buff. Fair enough. He probably thought that he could 1v1 a TF. I agree. He typically should be able to. But Nemesis did have a flash advantage, so I can see that being a little harder. So he ults, goes on to Kiana. Humanoid uses stealth, then immediately runs out of it. Then he gets the earth element. Oh, and he nearly kills him with the earth element. I think if Humanoid had just committed from the start, he probably could have killed him. That's what I think. But there we are. He didn't. He died. Fine. Fair enough. So now Splyce playing on 2 lanes. Notice again how they don't play on 3. Vizichachi does now have teleport, but they're continuing to play like this 1-4 style. We've seen a lot from Splyce. Like a lot. They are not playing towards their side lanes. I mean, they don't necessarily have to. They usually lose that anyway. But like, they're not catching waves. They're sacrificing farm on a side lane. They've done it multiple times this game. They intentionally sacrifice farm on a side lane to make a play elsewhere. So what does Norskeren do? He lands a hook onto Reckless, and he thinks this is a kill, but good timing on the E from Reckless means that he can jump out, and now Norskeren gets stunned underneath the tower, so he dies. So that's a misplay from Norskeren there. Now Splyce immediately have to back off because Bwipo's set up the side wave. I don't know if this is just good awareness from Fnatic, where they're like, hey, Splyce, keep willing to make this sacrifice. I really like the fact that Kabe threw the feathers backwards, because he was like, the post in front of me isn't the scary ones, the people chasing me are. That was well played. And I get another Drake, even though Splyce had Baron. This is a weird game, man. So what's the next passage of play? Baron has run out. I guess you're waiting for the next Baron if you're Splyce. Whereas Fnatic, still looking for picks, but it's harder now because they've lost a lot more control over the map. So you're in kind of a stalemate now. Yeah. At least that's what it feels like. Maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like the number of options available for both teams is quite limited. You just spend a lot of time farming, so I'm looking at double speed because I expect just a lot of farming to happen now. Again, though, notice where Nemesis is. Notice. He's always jumping into lanes with Bwipo. He's like, ooh, let's attack one of the side lanes. This is how you should be playing pick comps. In my opinion. And then they all base together. Catch the waves, reset. But again, they're just trying to make something happen, right? Hero is paranoid being what I am because he has no self-port. Sorry, when I talk a lot, I yawn a lot. That's why we have a cough button when I cast. I genuinely do yawn a lot when I cast as well. It is a thing. I mean, also, one of the big things that has heavily determined this game is that Humanoid has done some pretty disgusting things on this champion. So props to him for that. They found a lot of good picks. Caught Bwipo in transition there. That's what I'm trying to track. So Bwipo took a bit of a greedy path, but he wants to set up a flank. Not today! So now Splyce have numbers advantage. Ba-bang. And look, Baron's about to spawn. Baron is about to spawn, so Splyce can just force this. Woohoo! Now they get another Baron. There's nothing Fnatic can do about it, so they look to push mid to try and trade back. No, Broxer. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Off you go. Right. Splyce get another Baron. That was a good pick. But see what I was saying? Like, that's not something you can really predict. It just happens or it doesn't. Bwipo made one wrong decision. Splyce find a pick. Converts into a Baron. And overall, I feel like Bwipo's played really well this game. And you could understand that he was trying to go for a flank. Like, throughout this game, I feel like I've understood a lot of decision-making outside of some of the early game stuff that Hylissang was doing. But, like, it looks worse than it actually is. Because, like, in the moment, it's harder to recognize what the teams and players were trying to go for. But in this VOD review, we can see that a lot of the decisions that were made that looked bad were actually not as bad as we thought. There was logic there. I think the logic was pretty sound in a lot of instances. Alright, so Elder Dragon is up now. Vizichachi has teleport, so he'll push out top. And I think he should stay top, but he probably won't. TP in now? He should TP in now. Yeah, he's going to TP to the minions. Fnatic is sitting on a ward because they haven't cleared out their own jungle, even though Gragas has a sweeper. And then Hylissang's like, whoa, he's going to face check this brush. I got to go in. I got to go in. I got to go in. And Humanoid's just like, no! Wapatui, look at that ult. Oh, just straight into the wall. Wait, he didn't use the ult. Wait, did you just kill him with Q? That's just a Q. Damn. Damn, son. Right, so they find these picks. To the end of the game here? Is this it? Is it over? No. Surely it's not over. And that's two pretty big picks. Yeah, I knew the game wouldn't be over. Now they go for Elder. This is much more standard League of Legends, yes. It's a lot more standard. Still think Hylissang overall had a very poor game. Very, very poor game. So now they've got Elder. Did they even reset? No, they didn't. They're just going to go straight to top. They're gonna push in through the top lane. This is dangerous though, with that Baron. They haven't set up both mid and bot. There we go. They're gonna get him now. Nice. So they have the double supers bot, and now they have a wave pushing in mid. This is good. Oh, the mid wave disappeared. Never mind. Oh. Yeah, I remember this play. The Gragas. Bang! Nice. It was well played. No, they won't kill Humanoid. Fnatic, stay alive a little bit longer. Problem is, it's much harder to predict what happens now because the game's at a point where macro is less of a thing. And it's just about fighting and execution. Oh, that ult from Humanoid. Look. Oh, that's not what I want. Look at this ult from Humanoid. Bang, 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 bang! It stuns... It stuns Bwipo twice. Look. It stuns him. Oh no, it stuns him once. He takes the damage initially though, and then he gets stunned afterwards. Okay. He doesn't take the damage twice. Ulti from Humanoid is good though. But this is why Fnatic can't team fight. Like, the later the game went on, the harder it was always going to be to win. The comp had to find picks, and they were barely able to do it. So, in conclusion, I feel like Fnatic drafted themselves into a hole a little bit. They made the early game harder. They made a pretty smart swap relatively early on, which helped their early game, but it also didn't give them the opportunities to try and snowball, to like trying to make plays through bot. Hylissang had an overall terrible performance. I think Broxah, his impact was significantly less than it has been in the past. My problem is with Splyce is that they did nothing inherently wrong. Like, there were moments where, like that Baron, for example. I don't necessarily think it was a bad Baron. I think it was the best, or one of the best decisions that they could have made. Maybe there were more, I'm not entirely sure. Point is, I think the decision itself was fine, but the execution was poor. Because it seemed like that they couldn't quite make a decision around what they wanted to do. It was either pull off or turn, and they didn't commit to either. Oh, sorry, it was either finish the Baron or turn, and they couldn't commit to either. So they just kind of danced in and out. And then Fnatic was just like, what do you think they're going to do? I don't know. What do you think they're going to do? I guess we'll just wait for them to make a decision. And then Splyce is in the Baron pit like, I don't know. Do you want to go in? Do we... So, yeah. So, like, Splyce did nothing exceptional to me this game. But, like, I think they could have been more efficient with their resources on side lanes. I think based on how they play, they're really going to struggle against G2 in general. Because G2's way more efficient with how they allocate resources. I also think that they just have way more playmakers. I think when Humanoid was that fed, like, he found a lot of good picks. But I feel like he could have done more. And maybe that's unfair of me. Maybe I'm being unfair. I don't know. But I feel like he could have done more with the lead that he had. Don't know. It just felt like Splyce spent a lot of time just like trying to force and group around objectives. And then in the early game especially, Fnatic kept throwing themselves at them and Splyce just kept picking up kill after kill after kill after kill. And Splyce, again, like, Splyce inherently didn't do much wrong that game. Splyce were just like solid. Do you know what I mean? But Splyce didn't wow me. Splyce is just like a good team. They have a lot of solid fundamentals. There were a couple of individual mistakes that hurt them. I don't think there were any, like, game-changing mistakes. Like, if they did make some of those mistakes, it would have been easier. Like, Vizicachi made quite a few blunders that game. But, yeah. The reason why I keep talking about this is because a lot of people keep talking about is Splyce, like, the third best team in Europe. And, like, right now, based on how Origin is playing, I think it's very fair to say that they are. But Splyce isn't wowing me with their play. right? Like, Origin last split did impress me because it felt like that they had so much reservation and control in how they executed their game plan that it was very unique and very few teams could mimic it, which is why they ended up finishing second, and they were impressive to me. So I guess like Splyce, we can all acknowledge is a good team, but too often I feel like individually they make mistakes, which hurt them and slow their games down. And I also think that their execution isn't perfect. So I mean, like, no one's execution is perfect. That was the wrong word to use. I apologize. Yeah, but like Splyce is definitely our third best team in Europe right now, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just I guess I'm wanting something more from them. That's all. It was a deserved win. Fnatic made a lot of mistakes that game. Splyce definitely were the better team on the day, for sure. In a best of 5, do I expect this to happen? I don't think so. I don't think Splyce win this in a best of 5. Based on what I saw from Fnatic. Like, remember the Fnatic between 20 and like 28 minutes, they were the ones dictating the pace of the game. They were the ones managing their sideways much more efficiently. Yeah. So, there you go. Messy game overall. Splyce showing a very like solid performance overall. Definitely a very important and big win for them. But they need to minimize like the number of individual mistakes they're making, because there are quite a few, and it ends up in these more drawn out games. And Fnatic, they, like Hill is saying, is just, I guess, an off day. I don't know, but like I felt Bwipo was very solid. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank you for watching. Any YouTube fans, you can check out the stream every Monday at 6 p.m. CEST. Until next week, take it easy.